Today's lesson is lesson 2-2, and it's solving equations with variables on both sides. So what we're going to do, I'm going to work about 4 or 5 examples and show you how to work these, and then I'm going to let you work some to practice by yourself. Typically when we in the past have solved equations, we have had a variable and it's been on one side, we've located it, we've seen what's being done to it and done the opposite to undo it and solve for that variable. Now we're going to work some equations that have multi-steps where the variables are on both sides. And so I'll need to show you the steps to go through when that happens. So let's start with the first example. The first example I'm going to show you, I'm going to start with just a real simple one. 3v minus 8 equals 7 plus 8v. Okay, you'll notice in this equation that we have 3v and 8v, both on opposite sides of the equal sign. So when that happens, you have to make a choice about which one to start with. Now, it does not matter which one you start with, and different teachers will tell you different things, but traditionally, I have found that my students do better if we always start with the smallest variable and do the opposite of it. So if I look at my two variables, 3v is smaller, so I'm going to do the opposite. And if I look in front of 3v, there is nothing there. That means it's positive. So the opposite would be a minus or a negative. So I'm going to minus 3v on both sides. And then I'm going to simplify to see what happens. 3v minus 3v will cancel. I bring straight down everything, even the sign in front of it. That negative or minus sign goes with that 8. Bring down your equal sign. Bring down your 7. Then you've got 8v minus 3v, and that's 5v, but it's a positive, so we have to put plus 5v. Now we have a two-step equation where you have one variable on the right side, 5v, so we want to see what's being done to it and do the opposite. V is being multiplied by 5, and it's being added by 7. So I'm going to, first of all, get rid of the 7, because we have to get rid of our adding and subtracting first. If this bothers you the way it's written, then rewrite it and put the 5v at the beginning. And there's nothing wrong with rewriting it. If you would like to, and I'll just do that so that we can rewrite it so that we can see it in a better form. So I'm going to start and I'm going to rewrite 5v plus 7 on the left side and negative 8 on the right side. Okay, so now I'm going to solve this two-step equation, do the opposite of plus 7. I'm going to subtract 7 on each side. 7 minus 7 will cancel. Bring down your positive 5v, that just comes straight down. Bring down your equal sign, and then you've got negative 8 minus 7, that's negative 15. If you can't do that in your head from previous years, then you need to put that in your calculator. Don't miss a problem based on simple calculations. One step left, v is being multiplied by 5, so we're going to do the opposite and divide by 5 on both sides. Cancel out, v is left over equals negative 15 divided by 5 is negative 3. If I want to check, I can still check my answer, but because my original equation started with a variable on the left and the right, I would have to plug my answer in on both sides to see if it made a true statement. So let's do that right quick just to check it. So I'm going to check 3v, so 3 times negative 3, because negative 3 is what I have for v, minus 8 equals 7 plus 8 times v, which is 8 times negative 3. So 3 times negative 3, you could punch that in your calculator. That's negative 9 minus 8. On the right side, we've got 7 plus 8 times negative 3. PEMDAS tells me to do 8 times negative 3 first. That's negative 24. And then bring your 7 down. So negative 9 minus 8 is negative 17. 7 minus 24 is also negative 17. If those are the same answer, then they're equal, which it means it does check, and that means negative 3 is the correct answer. Okay, so let's move on to another example. Example 2. Similar problem, 4x plus 16 equals 2x. Okay, and same thing, we have a variable on the left, 4x, and a variable on the right, 2x. 2x is actually smaller, so we're going to do the opposite, and because it's a positive, we're going to subtract 2x. 4x minus 2x is 2x. Bring down your plus 16, bring down your equal. Now on the right side, we would normally, 2x minus 2x, we would normally cancel that out. But anytime you cancel and there's nothing left on a side to bring down, that means nothing's there, so you bring down a 0. Because you have to have something on that side. You can't not put anything there. And then you have a two-step equation. So 2x plus 16, we're going to get rid of the plus 16 by doing the opposite and subtracting 16 on both sides. Bring down your 2x. 0 minus 16 is negative 16. And then do the opposite of multiply, divide both sides by 2. So that leaves x equals negative 16 divided by 2 is negative 8. Again, you can check that by plugging that back into your original equation for the variable on both sides. And you'll see it does work out. Okay, example 3. Example 3 is going to be a little bit longer. 2c plus 4 minus 3c equals negative 9 plus c plus 5. Now, typically when we start to solve an equation, we're looking for our variable. Notice on the left side we have two variables. Anytime you have what are called like terms, if they have the same variable, they're like terms, or if they're both just numbers, they're like terms. You can combine those as long as they're on the same side of the equal sign. So on the left-hand side of the equal sign, I have a 2c and then I have a minus 3c. Always use the sign that's in front of a term. I need to combine those because they're both have the variable c, so they're like terms, and I just combine them. I do exactly what it says, 2c minus 3c. That would be negative 1c. Then bring down the rest of the problem. So I'm going to bring down plus 4, bring down the equal. On the right side, I also have like terms. I have negative 9, and I have a positive 5. Those are both just integers, so they're like, and they don't have a variable on them, so I can just combine those. Negative 9 plus 5 is negative 4. And then I want to bring down the rest of my problem, so bring down plus c. Any variable that doesn't have a number in front of it, there's an understood 1, so put a 1 in front of that. Now I want to look at my equation. I have a negative 1c on the left and a positive 1c on the right. Negative 1c is smaller, so I'm going to do the opposite of that on both sides and add 1c. When I do that, they cancel on the left because they're opposites. I bring down positive 4 equals negative 4, and 1c plus 1c is positive 2c. Now I have an equation where I'm going to, a two-step where I'm going to solve. I'm going to get on the side, always go to the side of the variable, negative 4 plus 2c. So c is being multiplied by 2 and subtracted by 4. So I'm going to do the opposite and add 4 on both sides. Again, if that bothers you, you can turn that around. 4 plus 4 is 8. Negative 4 plus 4 cancels, and you bring down your positive 2c. And for a final step, you want to get rid of multiply by 2 on the variable, so you divide by 2. And you end up with c equals 8 divided by 2 is 4. And so that's example 3. I want to work one more example. And this one's going to be example 4. And it's going to involve something called distributive property. And I know you've seen that before. Okay, so what we have is On the left-hand side, we have distribute. We have parentheses. Anytime you have a number outside parentheses, that's called distributive property. That means you need to multiply the number on the outside by everything in the parenthesis. So 100 multiplied by x is 100x. And then 100 times a negative or a minus 3 is minus 300. Bring down your equal sign, and then copy down what's on the other side of the equation, minus 50x. And then let's go ahead and solve by locating my variables on the left and the right, and the minus 50x is the smallest. So let's do the opposite and add 50x on both sides. That will give me 150x. Bring down your minus 300 equals 450, and then cancel out your plus and minus 50x. Now you have a simple two-step equation, so let's do the opposite of the minus 300 and add 300. That's going to give me 750. Cancel out your plus and minus 300 and bring down your 150x. And then last, just divide both sides by 150 to get rid of that. And those cancel, leaving your answer x equals 750 divided by 150 is 5. And that's your final answer.